and just plain killing people. I mean, if these are their best ideas, I don't see how they are possibly the best people. But people are complex, history is complex, heroes are complex, we are complex. Complex problems, no doubt, require complex solutions. But I think the biggest attack on all of this is on our mental health as individuals. And so looking to mental health, I think, is paramount. When we're overwhelmed by anything, grief, anger, anxiety, beauty, love, we lose perspective, sometimes just momentarily. But if we have to make decisions in that moment, they may not be the decisions we would make with a calmer mind. We have the right to all our emotions, so I think it's really important that we feel what we feel and don't deny any of it. But I think it's even more important then to get centered again and grounded as swiftly as possible. My mum, nicest person I've ever met, she said to me that all those streams that make up positivity, so empathy, compassion, humour, creativity, they haven't stopped for you to go off and be overwhelmed. They're still running. It's just that we forget that we can reach out for them. Or sometimes we don't even give ourselves permission to reach out for them. I mean, sometimes, in the bleakest moments, somebody will say something and someone may say, well, I shouldn't be laughing. And I think, why not? It hasn't changed the thing that was awful. And if you are facing something overwhelming, if you're able, if this thing is kind of like awful and terrible and terrific, and you could look at it from a different angle, from over here, and also see that it is silly or ridiculous or funny or interesting or profound, it doesn't mean that it's just not horrible anymore, but it's not just that. And that, to me, is the essence of perspective. I personally, I try to practice radical empathy. I sometimes think of myself as trying to be a compassion activist. And sometimes that's difficult towards somebody whose views I utterly oppose. But I still make the effort to find the empathy anyway, not because I think I'm going to change them, but more that it's a reminder to me of who I am, that I won't be dragged into their hateful agenda, which comes across in their actions and their words and their attitudes. Being angry or hateful is not difficult at all. It's actually really, really easy. Being compassionate in trying circumstances is far more of a challenge. Until you keep doing it, and then it just becomes habit, and it just becomes who you are. I've been really fortunate, I feel, to have met complete and utter idiots from every political party, every religion, every age, every gender, every socio-economic background, every part of the world. But I've also met warm, compassionate, funny people from all of those groups as well, except Nazis. Never met a nice Nazi, so they can go and do one. So my point in this is that simply belonging to a club does not give you a shorthand for a moral or intellectual high ground. It's your responsibility as an individual to express who you are. Being part of the group may be part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. And so, listen, you're the only you that's ever existed. And so, doesn't it make sense to try to be the best you? I found the healthiest state to be in is one of gratitude. Feeling grateful makes you feel lucky. And feeling lucky, oh boy, it's like a positive, protective force field. I feel lucky all the time. It's not comparative. I'm not lucky because someone else is unlucky. I'm not lucky today because I was unlucky yesterday. And I'm not competitive. I'm not luckier than you. I just feel it. It's a state that I'm constantly in. It doesn't depend on anything that happens today because I know tomorrow's coming. And Positivity for me isn't thinking everything's going to turn out great. It's knowing that when things are crap, that won't last, that can change. I've also realised that I'm sort of hardwired to find common ground, what unites us rather than what divides us. Disagree after you've agreed feels very, very different to agreeing after you disagree. And I'm about finding solutions. I honestly don't care who comes up with the solution. It's not about me, it's not about my ego. My first priority is not who to blame. Knowing who's responsible or why or how something happened is really, really useful. But in its time, my first priority is to get over to the other side of the problem. And there's a better chance if we're working together. Maslow, famous for his hierarchy of needs, said, if your only tool is a hammer, then every problem is going to look like a nail. It's also, for me, the power of diversity. If there's something that needs resolving, the last thing I want to be in is a room with 10 other people like me. Because, we'll all really get on. We'll be hilarious. We'll have the best conversations about films and the Beatles. But none of us would have learned anything at all. So if there's a solution to a problem, I want 10 people in the room who've got 10 different experiences and backgrounds and approaches than I have. Here's a neat trick. Start your thoughts, every thought you have, with your blessings, with what you have, rather than what you don't have. Start with what's good or what's great in your life, not that day, up until that point. And then think about the difficulties and the challenges that you have to deal with. Your first thought sets a tone. It may as well be a positive. Many of you may be thinking or have been asked about your plans. Have you got a plan? What's your plan? What's your plan now? Planning is really useful, right? It's allows you to see and build steps towards a goal. You might say, well, in 5 years' time, I'd like to be in a position to own a house, or I'd like to be in this management position, or in research or anything. And so what happens is your conscious and your subconscious start working towards that. That's how planning works, right? Rarely do I hear people say that their plan is to be happy. Forget that. I don't even hear and happy, your career goal and happy, because surely if you say that, then your conscious and your subconscious will be working towards that as well. But planning is linear, right? It has to be. It's like one step, on a ladder after another. Life is the exact opposite. Life is the disruptor. Life comes along full of its curveballs and the unexpected and the weird coincidences and the WTFs, World Tennis Federation for kids and the really, really old people. So all of that is normal. To have a plan is normal. To have it disrupted is normal. So don't fret about that. Your decision, in terms of who you are is always your next decision. That's all you have to worry about in those points when the plan goes awry. None of us really know what our future holds. We just don't. So you may as well fill it to whatever outcome with positivity. You may not change the outcome, but your journey to it will be far happier than the person who's anxious from the outset. Seneca said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." I've got lived experiences of these. So you may be aware that Sussex was my first choice when I was applying to universities many, many years ago. I didn't get in. Apparently my grades weren't good enough. So took my business elsewhere. And I waited 25 years till all those who were responsible for me not getting in had either retired, been deported, were in prison, or were just plain dead. And I got back in as chancellor. So my point is, nah. Take that, linear planning. The unexpected happened. I wanted to act and write since I was 5 years old. And I know this because when I was 5, some uncle came to the house and said to me, it's a 5-year-old, which sounds weird now, but he said to me, "So young man, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "Actor." And my dad said, "It's pronounced doctor." It's true, it actually happened. So career seemed impossible, so I pushed it behind a kind of wall of impossibilities and unlikelihood. At the age of 30, I sued the company I was working for breach of contract. And that legal process ran on for about 2 years, during which time I couldn't get any kind of job. And I thought, I've got nothing to lose. Let me get together with a friend of mine and we'll, I'll write and perform. And I, or no one else, at any point up until then, could have foreseen that within 2 years I'd be in a successful TV show and the start of a career. And again, where were you, linear planning, in all of that? At the end of the day, I think, what we need, if there's things that we need from each other, it is compassion, it's acknowledgement, it's understanding, it's not necessarily agreement, but it's to be seen, it's genuinely to be seen and to be heard. And compassion is the one thing that the more we give, the more we have. It's like a self-replenishing well. You never run out of it. And that includes expressing compassion for yourself as well. Regrets are pointless. Firstly, you can't go back and change anything in the past. And secondly, the only reason you'd want to is because you've learned something. So take that learning and move on and move forward. I'm going to leave you with one ancient Sanskrit proverb, which is as powerfully true thousands of years ago as it is today. And that is, too many cooks still won't make enough food for an Asian wedding. It's a deep-seated truth. I wish you all happiness and good fortune, good mental health, and hope that you're surrounded tenfold by the love, kindness, and humour that you give out. Well done. We're super proud. Go and be the best you. I declare this congregation closed.